Be Hero presents Sheroes.
Hi everyone, Alicia here.
And Amy.
To celebrate the Olympics, we're coming at you with our Olympic mini-series to celebrate female athletes throughout the world.
Tune in these next 2 weeks to be inspired by athletes past and present, and be inspired to make changes and reach for your own dreams.
This week we are jumping back in history about 60 years, and we are going to talk about Vera Caslavska.
Yeah, she's a gymnast from Czechoslovakia who competed and protested at the Mexico City Olympics. Quick interjection before you jump forward on this. I don't know if you remember our very first episode that we had. We actually talked about Vera, I think it was Komarkova.
Yeah.
Who had actually, hiked to those Olympics. So, just thought you might want to remember that.
Throwback.
Throwback to that. So anyways, with that in mind, this is the same Olympics, the Mexico City Olympics that we're talking about.
Now, you may remember from our trailer, we talked about Olympic game changers. Well, this particular athlete, Vera, she was an Olympic game changer.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so she was maybe not the first, but she was the one who kind of brought about gymnastics as an athletic event. So previous to her, most of the athletes were doing it more kind of like dancing, which there's nothing wrong with, and you can still kind of see it today. But she brought in kind of like the powerhouse and making it very athletic. So that's how she changed the sport.
That's awesome. I'd never heard that before.
To give you a little bit of background about her home was invaded by the Soviets just 2 months before the Olympics. She took a stand against them and ended up having to flee to a forest hideout. And 2 different articles that I read used those words, so I'm just going to repeat them. The fact that she has a hideout leads me to believe that she may have been preparing for this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, she was very active in the underground. So trying to free her country. So maybe she did have a hideout prepared ahead of time.
That would probably be smart.
Yeah.
After escaping to her hideout, she had to make do with homemade gymnastics pieces. I'm a big fan of watching the gymnastics, but I've never participated myself. I'm not sure what they call the various pieces when they're referring to them together. Equipment, maybe?
Maybe.
So one article I looked over described her swinging from trees.
Wow, that is crazy.
In preparation for this Olympics.
That makes it sound like pieces might be a bit of a
stretch.
Yeah. Maybe she just kind of built it herself.
Yeah.
So in the Tokyo Olympics, the one previous to the Mexico Olympics, she had actually earned 3 gold medals at the age of 22. Which seems appropriate that we're talking about her now, since this is the Tokyo Olympics again. What is that? What did you say it was, like 60 years later?
Something like that. Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Well, despite her setback preparing for the Mexico Olympics, she went on to win 4 gold medals. And that's, even with her using her homemade equipment or, forest-made equipment, Mother Nature equipment, and fleeing to safety. But despite that, she came back even stronger because, like we mentioned above, she got 3 medals in Tokyo and she got 4 in Mexico.
Yeah, one article even says that she had to shovel coal to toughen up her hands. Maybe had to is the wrong word. It sounds like she chose to.
Yeah. Throughout her gymnastics career, she won 22 titles. She won 4 world championships and 11 European championships. That's in addition to her Olympic titles.
In 2016, at the time one of the articles that I read was written, she was the only gymnast, male or female, to win gold in each individual event. that may still be true today. We'd have to double check on that.
And when we say to win gold in each of an individual event, we're talking about in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Her protest was subtle, but it had major consequences for her. She had turned her head away from the Soviet flag in protest of them invading her home country. But this small act barred her from coaching future athletes. She ended up having to work as a cleaner for many years instead of coaching.
And considering her world-class gymnastic skills, it must have been devastating for her to not have that opportunity to continue inspiring the next generation.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
She was not welcomed back into the gymnastics world until after communism fell.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, since it's my understanding that there are still communist countries today. I'm pretty sure China and Cuba are both communist, and others that I don't know of.
Maybe it means when the Soviet Union fell?
Maybe. Either way, I think this is an important story to tell, because until recently, I'd never heard of her, and the work that she put into accomplishing her goals is amazing. I mean, we've said this in previous episodes, but I think it's also appropriate here. This story is movie-worthy. But even after all this hard work of accomplishing her goals, the cost of having turned her head away and then being barred from coaching is just devastating, like you said before. Like so many people who've come before her and who will come after her, she deserves to be recognized so that others know that they can achieve their dreams no matter the cost. But even though it was devastating for her to be barred from coaching, I wonder if she would still have done it if given the chance to do it again. I think she probably would have.
Yeah, well, several of the articles that I was reading, they kind of said, like, that's just who she was. So I think she would have.
Yeah. And, you know, we might have much less extreme type of scenarios than what she had to deal with, although there are people who are having scenarios just as extreme. But we might have those scenarios too, where we have to make a choice that could essentially cost us everything. And we too might find that we're willing to give up everything to stand up for what we believe in, just like she did.
Now, she died at the age of 74, and I think it was actually shortly after the 2016 Olympics. I kind of, I just want to imagine for a minute, like, that was probably kind of a cool thing for her to watch, seeing the new powerhouses, shortly before she died.
Yeah, I think that would have been a pretty cool experience. I wonder if she got to watch those Olympics and other Olympics, after her own.
Yeah, I don't know.
So where can she be found?
So there's an article written in the Time magazine. It's the commemorative edition about the Summer Olympics, and the article is called Fighting to be Heard.
And there's also bbc.com,
theolympics.com,
and newyorktimes.com. We'll have links for those in the show notes for you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed our show and want to get to know more about Sheroes, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Also, if you think you know someone who would enjoy this show, be sure to share and help them get to know New Sheroes Weekly. We can be found at Facebook at Be Hero Media, Twitter at Be Hero Media, and Instagram at Be Hero Media.
And to women and girls the world over, be brave.